New, fresh to the marketplace, tier 10 Japanese tank destroyer, the Hori Type 3. Or the Samurai, as you can see here, it's got the Samurai camo going on. I posted on the YouTube channel community section last night, just giving my early feel on the tank. And this is the first game I played it in. Indeed, I'd never played it before. And I kind of guessed right on the way the tank needs to be played, which is great, and how it doesn't work. And I played it a lot last night, basically doing both front line, back line, all kinds of different play styles to see how it would work, so I could talk to you guys about it with some kind of modicum of intelligence. And I got a whole bunch of idiots who said that the tank was OP. One particularly said I'm a 65% player, and Bushka's being paid by Wargaming to say that this is an OP because it's got 250mm of frontal armor and it's incredible and it's just as overpowered as the Foch was. And I'm like, this guy's a moron. I deleted his comments, went back to sleep, and never thought of it again until just now, because yeah, it does have 250mm of frontal armor. You know, it has 250mm of pen. Just about freaking everything at tier 10. The Leopard 1 has 255mm of pen. The, like, T110E5 has 258mm of pen. And if they're running any kind of premium ammunition, like if they actually load premium ammo, everyone can go through it. It's also enormous. It is the size of a house. But what it does have is this weird armor profile where if you angle it like I just did there, and they use AP and they don't switch to heat, while people don't realize this, you're going to get bounces, because it goes from being easily pennable frontally from everything to just above the range of guaranteed pen if you angle it. And that's hilarious, because a lot of people don't want to change to Premo. They want to get a full damage shot in, so they just take the shot anyway, and they bounce, and that's just called being lazy. But it does take advantage of the characteristics of the player base in that. What it does do well, and this is legitimately something that I was really impressed with when I played the tank, was it moves around the battlefield very well for a tank this big. I ran it with a camo net because the best way to play this is kind of like a fast-moving assault tank, assault backup tank. So you want to support flanks and move around, but if you get caught frontally with this tank and you're not above them, you're going to get penned. And even if you are above them, you're going to get penned. Like the way I described it is it's like a cross between a grill and a Conway. It's quite quick. It doesn't have 640 alpha. It's only got a 149mm gun, so it actually does 560 alpha, but it has excellent penetration. That is where it really comes into its own. Your base AP round is 310mm of pen, and your secondary round is also an AP round. And it does 380mm of pen, which is crazy good pen. That's just outstanding pen. That's with an AP shell anyway. And it only drops, if you're firing the AP, the primary, it's 560, and it only drops 15 alpha in terms of your secondary round, which is a tiny drop in terms of heat. For instance, like an Object 268, for instance, has 303mm of pen, which is great pen, slightly under what the Hori has. And then on its heat round, it has 380, just like the Hori. But it goes from a 640 alpha shell to a 545 alpha shell with heat. The Hori goes from a 560 alpha shell to 545 alpha. In fact, if you run this tank with just the Premo, penning at 380mm, you only drop like 100 DPM, and that's where the strength of the tank is. You are a remarkably quick gun, 0.312 dispersion. Your DPM is not off the charts for a tier 10 TD. It's very good, but it's certainly not top of the queue like guns like the Badger. The Object 263 is miles ahead of you. The FV4005 is slightly up on you. The Grill 15 is slightly up on you, but you have more armor than a grill, and you have an outstanding AP round. So if you want to get in on the ground early and run this tank to the best of its ability, and I didn't realize this till I went and started doing this review and I really looked at the numbers, run it with the high-powered AP shell that does 380mm of pen and 545 alpha. Now, it's an odd one though, because like okay, hear me out on this. There's the age-old argument between DPM and rate of fire. Okay, so you want high DPM. You want the highest damage per minute you can, right? That's great. But with a big TD like this, at tier 10 especially, where you've got so many really good offensively minded tanks, having high DPM is well and good, but you may well, like a grill for instance will hit for 640 and then it'll hide until its camo resets. You hit for less than that. So if you want to do the same kind of impact that a grill has, you've got to reset your camo and then come back out. And it's all doable, but it means that this tank really doesn't get the most out of frontline camping. Like if you're in close support, you're not going to be able to get the same kind of derposaurus moments where you do 640 alpha, or if like you're in a Jaegeroo, you can do 800 alpha, and then you just sit quietly and don't do anything for a while again. This tank needs some time on target. So I think it's a tank that's got quite a high skill threshold to get the most out of. 250mm is good enough in certain situations, but good players will just switch to heat and pen you all over. The front of the tank looks a little bit like a Ferdinand. You can see it's got that angled side like a Tiger P just above the lower glacis. But the real danger is like the Jag Panther 2 fill. The reason I compare it to the Conway is the Conway is like a tank that has a lower than 640 alpha gun. And yet it still manages to stay pretty competitive because it's got that lovely turret and its mobility and its accuracy, and it's got like that, it's a good tank. The Ho-Ri is a different kettle of fish to that. So the negatives on the tank are lower alpha, and the armor profile, once someone figures you out, is not spectacular at all. It's actually very easy. You can see all these tanks will pen you and pen you quite comfortably. The thing that it has going for it, though, let's stick with the negatives. You're like any TD. Once you get a tank on your side and you've got like 95mm of pen, you're going to struggle to... I should have pressed forward there a lot sooner. Ow. You're going to struggle to block stuff. You're also prone to high explosive shots from the side. That's why I kind of compare it to a grill, because even though it has this frontal armor, you've got like a 95mm side, which there are a lot of tier 10 TDs that will take advantage of that. For instance, a Jaegeroo has 85mm of HE pen, but they can get up to 94 if they manage to use calibrated shells. And Death Star, if a Death Star gets a side shot on this tank, wow. Ugly town. Very, very, very ugly for you. Front on your speed. Let's talk about the speed, because that's pretty bloody important. You're able to get motoring quite nicely, 50 kilometers an hour. That's very quick. Your hull traverse is nearly 40 degrees when you've got all the bells and whistles on it. But it's a DPM machine that requires a steady hand and doesn't do well on its own. It will hit point trade and win hit point trades just because it's a tier 10 TD and it has more DPM. But with the buffs to some of the heavies and things, if you stand in front of a mouse, like eventually you'll die because it'll keep penning your bloody turret cheeks. I don't know why people think this tank's armor profile is so good. It's just not. You do 3235 DPM with your super high pen. You do 3324 DPM with your super, your 310mm AP pen. A mouse will do 246 DPM pen with its crappy AP gun. It'll still pen you all over the place. And if they shoot down on you, you've got very, very flat areas under the gun there where they can just stick their gun down and press the button and you just get exploded. With all that in mind, I think it's a testament to how PUBG, how Wargaming are able to balance a tank actually quite well out of the gate. And it makes me all the more baffled as to why we ended up with the bloody Sheridan and the T92E1 in the state they're in, when these things have taken forever to come to the game, and for the tier 10, I think it's really nicely balanced. Tier 10 has so many good tanks. Like, it just has so many good tanks. What do you want to do with it? Well, you can see in all these games where I'm doing big damage, I'm backlining, but look where I am. I moved early all the way out to the top of the map so that I could keep the team proximity spotting for me up the front, and then I'm just going to go and support when I see there's an opportunity. I see on the left-hand flank there is a isolated mouse, and I can see that there's 3 in the middle, 1 on the left. I can move up there if I want and start getting shots. And you'll see as I start burning through the rubber here and trying to get to support my teammate there, it moves very, very quickly. And this is its high point. A good gun with good DPM, incredible pen, and a quick motor. That's all you need. And if you've been playing the game for ages, you could take a box with a gun on it, no armor whatsoever, and still walk out and average 2,500 damage in it, because as long as the gun works and the game mechanics are exploitable, you can peek-a-boom and do all kinds of things. And just look at it. If you get in a nice situation like this, just time it again. Bang, 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 bang. I think they're going to have to change the premium AP pen. I don't know that that's going to work. Once people cotton on that they're only losing like 100 DPM for using a round that does 380 millimeters of pen, and I can already tell that people are going to be furious with me for mentioning this because a lot of people don't realize it, then, I mean, that's a mouse, and this is with my standard AP round. Look at it. It's very easy to get pens off. Like, even the upper deck on the mouse, the upper glacis is pennable. I just refuse to move to go and get that other guy. There goes my 4K. Look after yourselves all. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the game. Big patch this, and I'll come back with a few comments on my thoughts on the differences between this patch and, well, not so much the differences with this patch, but the changes and how they're going to affect metas and things. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the Tier 10 Ho-Re. I think they've done a good job with it, and pending some unforeseen circumstances, I think it'll fit right into the meta and be quite an interesting drive, which I like. I'm not a huge fan of the Tier 7. I've been driving that a little bit, but I'll figure it out. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.